Hey, are you one of those really successful women who has absolutely kicked butt in her professional life? In fact, sometimes you just feel that you can do it all and therefore there's really no need for a relationship? Well, I'm going to chat about something really touchy today. And so, if you have been flourishing in every area of your life, you just have everything together except in the romance department, you need to watch this video to the end. And I promise that it'll be worth it because I'm going to be giving you a bonus at the end. But you're probably wondering, why should I listen to this woman? Who is she, and why does what she say matter? My name is Judy Wong, and I'm a two-time award-winning best author of The Softer Side of the Corner Office and also Don't Wait in the Wings. Now, I'm also an international speaker, and I spent more than a dozen years in finance. I have worked with Fortune 500 companies, and I've spoken across stages all over the globe, also as a consultant and as a coach. So, what you really need to understand is I know how men tick. I speak male talk. And I want to share with you some of the most important things that women need to really understand at a fundamental energetic level. And as I share this, I'm also sharing this from a very tender place because I am a child of divorce and I also ended up going through a divorce. And so, therefore, everything I say might have more weight because you need to avoid these things so that you avoid divorce. Does that make sense? So, point number one. The first thing really successful women need to recognize is that you are in it for the partnership, not to win. Meaning, there can only be one leader in a relationship at any given time. The energetics of this is very sensitive, and for those of you in spiritual communities and have studied a lot about the law of attraction and understand masculine and feminine energies, I would encourage you to consider and explore whether your ability to lead your own life and to lead very successful professional lives have spilled over into your romantic department in a way that, well, doesn't give you any satisfaction. And one of the reasons it doesn't give you any satisfaction is probably because you're always trying to lead men. Now, it might work at work, in the office, or whatever it is that you do professionally, whatever the setting is, but it doesn't work well in a relationship unless, for one reason or another, you really want to wear the pants 24/7. You see, there is something very, very critical that modern women have lost touch with, that women of older generations understood. Now, I am not saying that the emancipation of women over the last 50 years, 50 plus, 60, 70 years, has not brought us amazing freedom and rights. Quite the opposite. I enjoy and benefit from a lot of it. In fact, I'm able to do this video for you now. However, in the romance department, it's the one place where women naturally have the chance to let down their guard and be vulnerable and be open and to bare their souls to their partner and allow their partner, assuming you're heterosexual, allowing the man to take the reins and be fully accountable for everything that goes on. While you may think on the surface that, oh, well, I want to wear the pants, I want to call the shots, I know better. The point is, this is the one time in your life where hopefully you can trust someone enough to let go. And men, if they work a job and naturally have a boss, have also a very deep yearning that goes beyond just serving. As much as they serve at work, as much as they might even serve you at home with dinner, their ability to step into a role of leadership in the household gives them a sense of satisfaction that they're not able to get somewhere else. So that's number one. Number one is there can only be one leader in the relationship at any given time. And my suggestion, ladies, learning from my own mistakes and my experience, when you get home, remember to take off all your armor. Let your gear down and relax. Because your ability to soften and relax into your feminine space actually gives a man something so amazing to come home to, something that they yearn and crave for when they're out there, quote unquote, doing battle. Now, I know that we too have times when we're battling out there in the outside world, especially if you're working in a profession that you don't necessarily enjoy that much. But that's a separate discussion for another day. I mean, you need to ask yourself that question, right? If you're not enjoying it, why are you doing it? But going back to the context of relationships, the second thing I wanted to highlight, another big mistake that women make, is that we communicate in a way that is dictatorial as opposed to inspiring. I'll say that again. The number two mistake that women make is that we speak in a way that is dictatorial and not inspiring. What's the difference? I'll give a simple example. You're both very tired after work and you say to your man, I want this, this, and that. And so therefore he goes and does it. There are two possibilities that could come from that. The first is he just does it because he's so used to doing it anyways and you've been wearing the pants for a while. The second is that he actually does it, but deep inside he feels a certain level of resentment, as in, why am I doing this? And that's not the energy you want a man to bring into your relationship. I mean, really sit with yourself on this one and ask yourself, I'm a woman and I have definitely been through a lot of phases in my life, and I recognize looking back where there were times where I wish that man would do things without me asking, right? You wished that he would, out of his own conviction, just choose to do things for you, his own volition. He just believes that doing something for you is going to make you happy, so he's going to go ahead and do it, right? And so there's an art of communication here. So the dictatorial style is to say, I want blah, 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 and I want the chicken cut up this way, and the herbs should be this way, and then you get exactly what you want. But wouldn't you be able to just get that kind of service anywhere else? And wouldn't you want your romantic relationship to be the place where you don't need to order anyone around, but instead that person is with you and wants to see you happy and feels inspired by the things that you say and therefore does things for you? So the opposite of the same example I just gave is where you just say, I'm feeling really hungry, and see how the man responds. You see, there's absolutely no strings attached to saying I'm feeling really hungry. It's just a feeling. It's very neutral. And I would reckon that the natural response anyone that you're speaking to would probably give is, oh, well, then why don't you eat something? Or let's get something to eat. And then probably followed by, well, what do you feel like? Do you see the difference? At the end of the day, you're still getting your meal, but it's the energy leading up to you receiving that meal, and probably the level of satisfaction that comes with receiving that meal. Being a woman means that we need to learn to lean back a little more into our feminine energy and be open and trusting to receiving the things that we truly desire from somebody that we know is coming into the relationship with a desire to fulfill as well. Yeah? Okay. Well, mistake number 3, the third common mistake that us modern successful women tend to make, is that we want to manage everything in the house our way because it's our house. Yeah? But remember, for a man, his castle is really all that he works for. That's the whole purpose behind it. And so the difference between managing the whole house your way versus allowing the man his castle to be furnished in a way that, let's say, gives you both a level of satisfaction, wouldn't that, again, be another win for you in the romance department? So I'll give you another example. One of the classics that I made the mistake of in my marriage. When we first moved into our first home, I insisted on pink walls. Imagine how a man feels about coming home to pink walls in the bedroom. Yeah. I'll let you just think about that. Now, can you imagine the types of discussions and conversations that could potentially take place behind the scenes between a man and his friends if anybody ever came to visit? I understand that it's really your space and it's nobody's business. And I also am an advocate that we do not people please. However, this isn't about people pleasing as in pleasing your partner. This is about finding a very healthy equilibrium between your masculine and feminine energies within the container. Because remember, as the woman, you can easily drop into this feminine space where the man's just kind of like, oh, what's going on with her? His curiosity will naturally peak, and then he will most likely give you a lot of suggestions as to how he believes his castle should be run, or the color of the walls, or where the shoe shelf belongs, for example. Again, it is another opportunity for you to decide whether you want to score a point for the team, as in your family unit, meaning you and him and if there's anybody else, or whether it's you scoring a point for you. There's a massive difference in terms of who's actually benefiting. Common mistake number 4. Common mistake number 4 is finances. Ooh, this is a big one, and I have goosebumps just thinking about this topic because I have always been a big believer that women should manage their finances independently, and that is critical to our well-being to be good money managers. Yet, and I say yet, at the same time, in a relationship, without having to necessarily surrender everything to the man, there is a very big need for the man to understand where he falls on this grander scheme of things and on this spectrum. Have you ever tried to date a man that earned less than you? I mean, how did that make you feel? Usually there's some form of power struggle there because money and power are tightly correlated, and if you're earning more for one reason or another, you're going to naturally feel that you should be calling the shots. Now, I'm not saying that you should give up your earning power, but I want to emphasize that a man should at all times be able to speak to you about finances without you getting very defensive. This is insanely hard. I know it. However, it's a critical topic in relationships, right? That and intimacy are probably the two things that every relationship cannot be without. Yeah? And I'll talk about intimacy in number 5. But number 4, being finances, let me ask you this. If your man, for one reason or another, decided one day that he wanted to manage your finances along with his, how does it make you feel? This is a very, very important question because it takes you to the core of your being. It means that you need to tap into your intuition and to really feel in your body how it is that you perceive the man that you're with. If you believe that the man that you're with is always going to look out for your well-being and the well-being of the family, and that he is naturally good at investing and he's a great money manager, there should be a part of you that doesn't feel all up in arms and ready to fight it out with him, right? Now, this is a very big topic amongst couples and is one of the leading reasons and causes behind divorce. So if you're not able to approach this topic from a very feminine space of, I'm open to potentially sharing, or if you're not open to sharing, I'm open to the idea of surrendering to the leadership of the man in the relationship with respect to certain financial decisions. You see, this is supposed to be one of those arenas where, once again, if the man is fully competent and has earned your trust and displays all of the qualities of a man that you desire, there should be no reason why you would not want to potentially surrender to his decision-making process surrounding finances. Now, whether or not he's asking you for money is a completely separate topic. He should not be asking you for money. But if it was a situation where finances were involved and he wanted to make a decision about how to handle his money, you should be willing to be quiet about what you think you can do with yours or how you could do it together. Leading into a discussion of how you think you can manage finances together, unless he's brought it up, it's really opening yourself up for, well, potentially a can of worms. Unless you really are ready to surrender all of your income to him, I suggest that you make the effort to know yourself, know your earning capability, and most importantly, drop into your body and ask yourself, how much do you trust this man with the topic of money? Because your well-being on this planet, in this 3D world, will revolve around money in some shape or form. And if you can't trust him with money, then you need to really sit back and ask yourself, how important is money on the grander scheme of things in your relationship? Because if it's, let's say, number 1 or number 2, and he's a poor money manager, are you really with the right person? Now, number 5. The 5th mistake that successful modern women make is, well, we say no to sex a little too often. You saw this one coming, right? The number 1 killer of an intimate relationship is to not get intimate. And believe it or not, when we close ourselves off to intimacy, we're not only holding off a man and his libido. We're not only saying, you're not desirable, or I don't feel like it. What you're really saying is, I am not interested in tapping into my femininity for you. But you see, your femininity is yours at all times. Saying no to sex with someone that you love, saying no to having intimacy with somebody who you've already decided is your partner, and you're in a very safe container, that's like saying, I don't want my period anymore. You can't really expect that, right? And so, not having emotional connection often leads to women also not wanting physical intimacy. And it's a huge, huge topic amongst couples who have been together for quite some time, and oftentimes their sex lives start diminishing. However, if it was possible to always keep things fresh and to always make sure the desire remains for each other in that relationship, wouldn't your life become even fuller and more complete? Think about it. As a modern woman, if you're already smart, educated, successful, earning a great income, and yet in the romance department something is lacking, is it not worth trying something different and worth considering, where if you were able to lean back in your energy, you might be able to receive the things that you've actually deeply desired for a long time? Do you think that the universe or God or whatever religion you practice, do you believe that this higher power doesn't want to see you experience love and harmonious relationships? Of course not. And if that is the case, if you deserve and are worthy of a relationship that is deeply intimate on every level, where there's spiritual compatibility and emotional connection, and whoa, don't we all want some physical intimacy, why would you say no? This is something you need to ponder for yourself. It's not something that I can necessarily give you the solution to, because everybody has a different body. But if your man is demanding sex, and you're always saying no, you need to ask yourself, where are you subconsciously leading this relationship in the direction of? Right? Where exactly are you leading it towards? Yes, towards. I'm really sharing this from a place of being healed and having explored so many different schools of thought. And I still believe that regardless of all of the gifts which feminism has given us, it has taken away one of the things that we hold most precious and dear, which is our ability to bare our hearts to a man and just know and believe that he's going to be able to care for whatever our needs are, with consideration, with love. And so, that being said, I want you to also know that I don't preach being a doormat. Never do I believe that a woman bending over backwards and giving up all of her needs and all of her desires strictly to please a guy is the solution. Not at all. Excuse me. However, when a woman is able to truly recognize her worth and stand in her worth and come from a place of feminine confidence, that's where you will be willing and happy to submit to some of a man's desires when you know that he has considered you. And more importantly, I want to share with you now that bonus item that I mentioned at the very beginning of my video. So if you want the bonus item, you'll have to make sure that you click on the link below, because it's going to take you to a page where you enter your details and you can receive a free copy of my ebook. And that book is on feminine confidence. In that particular book, I'm going to talk about all the things that you need to remind yourself of, especially when you are no longer working. Meaning, once those hours have been served, you take off the pants and you remember that you are a woman, you drop into your womb and you settle into the wisdom that lies in the female body, and you allow yourself to quite simply be. So in this guide, I promise you, you will learn so many things about feminine confidence, radiance, and learning just to be a lot more charming around the opposite gender, so that there will never be any shortage of masculine energy that is willing to provide for you. And I don't necessarily mean it in the sense that it has to be a romantic partner, but just the aid and the help of men in any kind of setting, even professional settings. So I hope that you found this video helpful, and if any of its contents is something that resonated with you, make sure you leave a comment and share so that you can help other people that are watching, and also share this video so that more women can benefit. And with that, I'll let you go. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!